Hey everybody, Mike Hagen here. I want to talk to you today about white balance on the Nikon cameras, specifically things like incandescent and fluorescent and sunny. Now most of you know that your camera has an automatic white balance setting. We use this when we don't want to think about white balance or maybe when you want to adjust it later inside of Lightroom or Photoshop. But there are a whole bunch of other white balance values on your camera that you can adjust to fix the white balance setting for the type of lighting condition you're in. So let me show you how to adjust it, and then I'll show you how to fine tune it a little bit as well. So on your Nikon camera, your white balance button is either on the outside back here, or it's up here on top and it's labeled WB. So in this case, I'm going to push in my white balance button. Here we go. And then I'm going to rotate my main command dial with my thumb. And as I rotate and change that, I'm changing it between settings such as incandescent, fluorescent, sunny, flash, cloudy, shady, and then we get to some other values, Kelvin, as well as preset, which I'll talk about in some future video. Well, the settings such as incandescent and sunny and shady, these are designed to use when you know what the color temperature is, or when you know what type of light exists in the room where you're shooting. A lot of times I'll go into a space and I'll just look up and I'll go, those are incandescent lights. And so rather than shooting auto, I'll push my white balance button and then set incandescent. The other way to set your white balance is to go into the menu system, push the menu button, go to white balance, and then you can toggle between the different white balance values, just like you could do on the outside of the camera. And then maybe you choose incandescent. Now the thing I like about setting my white balance to a specific value is that my shots will be consistent from picture to picture to picture to picture. In other words, there won't be the variability that we get when we shoot with automatic white balance. Now a lot of times when we shoot, the colors are never actually perfect. You know, incandescent lights can change a little bit in Kelvin, as well as fluorescent lights. They can change wildly in terms of Kelvin. So what I like to do often is I'll set my white balance to a value, incandescent, and then I'll take a picture, and then I'll look at it on the back of the camera. If I think that the photo looks slightly blue, or if I think it looks slightly warm, then I'll go in and do some adjustments. One of those adjustments that I can do is called white balance fine tuning. Now in a previous video, I talked about how to do that on the outside of the camera. Let me show you how to do white balance fine tuning inside the camera. So I like to do that here in the menu. So I go to what's called the shooting menu, and then I go to the white balance value and pick maybe incandescent. Rather than pushing the OK button to set incandescent, I push to the right with my multi-selector, which brings up this white balance fine tuning color graph. If I move to the left or to the right, this changes what we call the color fine tuning. I can add a little bit of amber, which is to the A value, or I can add a little bit of blue, which is to the B value, okay? Amber or blue. Now this isn't a big change, it's just a subtle change. Slightly warmer, slightly cooler. In addition to that, we can go up into the green, or we can go down into the magenta range. And we use the green and magenta for white balancing in fluorescent lighting conditions when the colors are slightly off. Once I have picked my white balance fine tuning value, maybe amber 2 or amber 3, I push the OK button, and now when I take pictures, it'll be set for something like fluorescent amber 3 or incandescent blue 3. Now the last thing with setting your white balance fine tuning is don't forget to set it back to 0 when you're done shooting. The last thing you want to do is go out on location, set your camera for maybe white balance fluorescent, and forget that you actually had it set to amber 3 yesterday, when today you really want it to be at amber 0. So just make sure that when you go back in there, you zero it out, push OK, and now you're back to the default fluorescent setting or the default incandescent setting. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.